So let me begin by acknowledging and appreciating former Ambassador Mrs. Pamela Dean for providing me an opportunity to speak at this forum and for the gracious welcome offered by Binding Bar. At the outset, let me make clear my views in no way represent the views of the institutions that I'm affiliated with. And I will basically pick off from where Mr. George Cook left off in terms of the political dynamics between India and Sri Lanka's foreign policy in general. So basically, one of the most interesting developments that took place after the general election in Sri Lanka was the duties and functions that were ascribed to the newly appointed Minister of Foreign Relations. As per the extraordinary gazette, the minister has been tasked with a special responsibility to assess existing bilateral agreements and investigate whether any clauses or articles therein may have a detrimental effect on the local economy. Now, this special responsibility is noteworthy owing to the fact that it was not previously assigned to the Minister of Foreign Relations in past regimes. Another interesting development is the government's decision to appoint Mr. Tarak Balasurya, a comparatively young member of parliament, as the state minister for regional cooperation. Now, the state minister position was not something that was visible in previous regimes, and this outlines the fact that the new regime will be more interested in developing ties with regional countries, India included. The decision to select Mr. Barasuri is also important owing to the fact that his predominant concerns, as evaluated by his speeches in Parliament, are on topics related to economics and finance. As the State Minister for Regional Cooperation, his duties include strong economic and trade ties with Asian nations and strengthening Sri Lanka's bonds with the SAARC and BIMSTEC nations. Now, this is explicitly outlined in the Extraordinary Gazette. Now, another reshuffling of import is the appointment of retired Admiral Professor Jayannath Columbage as the Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Relations, post that tended to be held by career diplomats. Now, the question in terms of Sri Lanka-India relations is, why are these developments salient? What signals has the Gotabaya Rajapaksa regime sent by introducing new portfolios, delegating special responsibilities, and appointing a former admiral to the position of the Secretary of Ministry of Foreign Relations? Firstly, one can assume that there will be a reinvigorated emphasis on strengthening ties with India and other neighboring states. When dealing with foreign powers, we can assume that Sri Lanka's policymakers will be keen to tip the import-export balance in the island's favor and entice foreign direct investments from regional and extra-regional powers. These are all issues which the general populace, and in particularly the youth, feel very strongly about. Now, the creation of the State Minister for Regional Cooperation, I believe, is very important for this dialogue. And it's the specific statement that the minister's responsibilities include that of enhancing ties with BIMSTEC and SAARC states points to a fact which I outlined in an article that was titled Geoeconomics Regional Orders in South Asia. Now, the article, which I co-authored with a colleague of mine at the University of Colombo, delineated a foreign policy orientation which we defined as concentric circles based hierarchical approach of establishing friendly external relations. Now, according to this approach, Sri Lanka's principal focus when the island's policymakers engage in foreign policy decisions will be India and the other regional powers in the Asian context. Now, the creation of a state minister for regional cooperation and the newly appointed Foreign Secretary's declaration that Sri Lanka should adopt an Asia-centric approach by applying greater attention to SAARC and ASEAN nations in terms of political and economic ties substantiates this hypothesis that we forwarded in 2019. Now, Sri Lanka must also deal with the negative optics surrounding the Hambantota port and other infrastructure built with Chinese funding. To do so, academics and policymakers alike must push against claims and narratives of debt trap diplomacy, predatory lending, and checkbook diplomacy, all in relation to Sri Lanka's foreign policy. Now, this is important not just in terms of the government taking active measures to challenge arguments or allegations raised in this regard, but it is also significant to note the fact that young Sri Lankan economists and policymakers have pushed against this allegation, but more needs to be done, particularly in relation to this narrative that is brought forward by some media. Now, in terms of Sri Lanka and India's bilateral partnership, Sri Lanka greatly values its relationship with India and has over the years strived to build on this robust partnership by diversifying engagement in the socio-economic field. Sri Lanka's economy has substantially suffered with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in this backdrop, the decision of the Reserve Bank of India to enter into a currency swap agreement with the Central Bank of Sri Lanka is a very important move that needs to be commended, and more bilateral engagements of this nature is important, particularly in terms of the investment dimension and in terms of the trade dimension. Two sectors which India can enhance its engagement with Sri Lanka that needs more further impetus. Sri Lankans, to conclude really, to Sri Lankans in the years ahead, hope to see deeper and mutually beneficial political, security, and socio-economic ties with all its Asian nations, particularly its closest neighbor, India. Now, to attain these objectives, the newly elected government must adopt innovative and efficacious strategies as well as engage with academia and with the youth in particular as it charts Sri Lanka's foreign policy. Because a policy that is divested from academia, that is divested from engaging with the youth, has extremely negative consequences that has resulted in regimes being overthrown in the past. With that, I'll end my statement. Thank you very much.